Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another compilation. This time I'm including videos that I did a year and a half ago about cheap RPGs that are still found today, even with the pandemic going on. Alright, stay put. This is gonna be very interesting because some of these games are really good and very cheap. Let's begin. Alright, let's start with the best game of this entire video, and that is Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3. Now, keeping in mind, I'm talking about the original version on the PS3 that came out several years ago, not the remastered version on the PS4, which is a $15 to $20 game nowadays. Perhaps one day it will be 15 or less, who knows. The original version, man, that's a hell of a version. It's a great game. I have praised this awesome strategy RPG to death in this channel. Not only this game, but the entire series as well. So Valkyria Chronicles is a game that you will find for even less than $10. And should you buy it? Yes, it is a great game that you should have. Next up on the list is Manakai, Student Alliance on the PSP. This is the trickiest game in the list. It's kind of hard to find for less than 20. I've seen this like a couple of times in local retail stores, well, not retail stores, I mean local resellers selling this game for less than $20, complete in box, and I mean it. This is a port from the original game on the PS2. It's not a new game, it's not a new Manakai or Manakai 3 or whatever, no. It's a port, the same game as the first one on the PlayStation 2, but the PlayStation 2 version goes for like $30 and above that. Manakai on the PSP, however, the port goes for less than 20. Turn-based RPGs, they also include a lot of alchemy and stuff, and they play somewhat similar with battle systems in turns, but they're not part of the Atelier franchise. They're more like spin-offs. They have nothing to do. They're both like high school simulators and stuff, and they're pretty good. Great RPGs. Both of them, also the second one on the PS2, also released on the PSP, but unfortunately the PSP port never came out of Japan. First one did, and it's a $20 game and below. Okay, let's start with Phantasy Star Universe. It was also released on the Xbox 360. And let me begin saying that the Xbox 360, ironically, is a little bit cheaper than the PS2 version, but the difference is like $2 or $3. Both versions, however, are below the $10 range. Remember that. Now, is it good? Yes, it is! And it's totally worth your $10. I mean, this game for $10 or less, come on, it's a no-brainer. It's very good, it's very solid, and it's a game that I definitely recommend for those looking for a challenging RPG. That's right, this game is not easy, nor is it very difficult. The challenge is there, it's balanced, so I suggest you check it out. Next on the list is another Xbox 360 RPG, Infinite on Discovery. You wanna know who made this game, this excellent action RPG? Tri-Ace. People who made the Valkyrie Profile and Star Ocean series. That's right, Infinite on Discovery, it's a pretty underrated game. A lot of people trash this game because, I don't know, the characters, or maybe the voice acting, or some of the gameplay mechanics. Come on, this is a pretty decent action RPG. It has mixed reviews, yes, but for $15 or even $10 or less, it's a great purchase. It's also an exclusive on the system, so if you have an Xbox 360, come on, Infinite on Discovery, Tri-Ace, you can't go wrong with that. And speaking about Tri-Ace, here's Star Ocean 3. That's right, a PS2 game. You know how most of PS2 JRPGs are not even $20 anymore. All of them are like $15 to $20 or more than that. But Star Ocean 3, however, Jesus, I can't believe it's still that cheap. Star Ocean 3, or rather Star Ocean Till the End of Time, it's a great game, one of the best Star Ocean games ever made, and a game on the PS2 that you should own and play and have for less than $15. Now, in some parts, maybe this game is more expensive, I have no doubt about that, and I know even in places like North America or even Europe, finding this game for $15 or less can be a little bit tricky, but I'm pretty sure you will find it. Alright, next is Glory of Hercules. This is currently one of the very few RPGs on the Nintendo DS that you can still nowadays find for $10 or less. I'm dead serious. So if you're looking for a low budget RPG, then this is for you. And yes, it is good. It might seem a little mediocre, but trust me, it's not. Once you start playing this game, you will realize by yourself how good it is, especially the battle system, which is fantastic in my opinion. A turn-based RPG with several mechanics that involve the use of stylus to cast certain types of magic in these mini games that I just found to be really addictive. Trust me, Glory of Hercules is a solid RPG, no masterpiece again, but it's definitely worth your $10 or less. Next up is Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. This one came out on the PS3 and also on the Xbox 360 and is an action RPG. So this is one of those games that I strongly suggest and recommend you go to your local stores with resellers or retailers or whatever and try to find this copy, because I found mine, and I mean it, for like $2. That's right. And well, is it good? Is it worth $2, $5 or $10? Yes! Man, this is one of those games that I will pay even more for it because it's so goddamn good. The action pace in this game is fantastic. It's fast. It's not one of those Western action RPGs that are very technical and are very slow and whatever. No, this is fast action, and I mean it. Well, mostly depending on the character you choose, of course. It's just fantastic. It is an open world RPG. Well, you can ignore the open world part just like I did and just go straight for the main story, doing some side quests here and there, nothing major. So there are several ways to play this game, but that's gonna be entirely up to you. No matter how you play this fantastic game, it's still great and it's totally worth your $10. Okay, and now let's talk about Ark the Lad Twilight of the Spirits. Man, what an underrated game! I mean it! How come this game is so goddamn cheap nowadays, considering it's, in my opinion, the best Ark the Lad ever made? Beats me. But hey, let's take advantage of that, right? It's less than $10, maybe $5 if you're lucky, and it's a fantastic strategy RPG. The story here is top notch. I really like how the story is divided between the two main characters and their parties and their entirely different routes. I just love that, you know, I love when there's so many characters involved and you are not forced to do the exact same missions on each route or in each character. I don't like that, but in this game it's like playing two games at the same time. It's a really good game, perhaps one of the best in the entire list that I'll talk about in this video. So is it worth your $10? Heck yes, it is. Next is the very first Dragon Warrior on the NES. Now, this is a little bit controversial because I know the complete in-box version of this game goes for no less than $30, and that's if you're lucky. But you know what? Most people, most gamers, including me, I don't know about you, but most gamers tend to collect, when it comes to the NES, they tend to collect just the cartridge. Even mint conditions of the soul cartridge, the loose cartridge of this excellent, historically important RPG are no more than $10. and I mean it. Do I need to explain anything about this game? Come on, it's one of the pioneers in the history of RPGs. You already know it's a turn-based game, very short, a classic on the NES, and for less than $10, it's a no-brainer. Now here's a game I have never talked about in this channel, and that is Dragon's Dogma. This one came out on the PS3, on the Xbox 360. I found my PS3 copy for less than $5. And is it good? Yes, it is. I haven't finished this game, but what little I played about it, it was fantastic. It's Western-like RPG, however, it is a Japanese role-playing game made by Capcom. So of course it looks Western, it takes a lot of influence from those Dungeons and Dragons games, maybe the Dragon Age series, but it's totally an action RPG, and my god is it good. I'm pretty sure the Dark Horizon version, which is the full, complete, ultimate edition of this game, is a $10 game. At least the PS3 and the Xbox 360 version. If you're lucky, you can find that edition for $10 or less, but the standard edition is way less than $10, and you should check it out. Now a game that is intriguing one bit, it's the next game in the series, Star Ocean 4, also known as Star Ocean The Last Hope. This game came out on the PS3 as the international version and also on the Xbox 360. And trust me, both versions, they're completely worth it. I think the Xbox 360 version is harder than the PS3 version, but that's just my opinion. I played both versions and I found the international version of the PS3 easier. But whatever the case, these are great games. Again, a lot of people trash this game, but they have been trashing the entire series since Star Ocean 2 came out. So come on, just play the game, either version, and have an opinion on your own. But Star Ocean The Last Hope is a game that, trust me, you will find it for less than $15. I can almost guarantee that, in some parts of the world, of course. Next is Wild Arms 3. Man, I couldn't leave this game out of the list. It just had to be here. Wild Arms 3 on the PS2 might go up in price soon. Right now you can still find it for between $15 and $20, maybe less if you're lucky, complete in box of course. Fortunately, if you're not a collector and you only want to play this game, you can buy it on the PS4 as a digital copy, and it's often on sale. I mean, I've often seen that game for like $15 on sale, and even if it's not on sale, it's like a $20-$25 game. So it looks beautiful on the PS4, but if you're a collector like me and you want to own the physical version, well, it's only the PS2 version for you, my friend, but I can guarantee it's a $20 game and below that. God Wars Future Past. It's a grid-based, turn-based strategy RPG. You know, isometric, kind of like a Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre, you know, from that old school. It's a great game, don't miss it, and trust me, any version of this game, probably except the Switch version, which is sort of like the complete version of it. I have no idea what that goes for nowadays, but the Vita version and also the PS4 are cheap as hell, like $15, maybe 20. I'm pretty sure no version of these games are worth more than $20. Last but not least, Freedom Wars. Oh man, I'm currently in love with this game. It's not perfect, it has a lot of problems and it's really hard to get into, but trust me, it draws you in from the beginning of the game. It's an action RPG, and it plays similar to God Eater. I don't want to say Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter games are like really slow and boring in my opinion. This is action-based, like fast-paced action RPG. It's a great game. Freedom Wars, I think it's an exclusive to the Vita, so chances are you won't play this game anywhere else, but on the Vita, maybe on PC as well, I'm not too sure. All I researched was the price of this game, and I can't believe it. Even in Mexico, I found copies of this game for like $10. This is, wow, this is one of the cheapest RPGs also on this list, and it's totally worth it because it's highly original. The story takes place in this, well, all I'll say is that it's sort of like a dystopia. I don't know if you guys have ever read this famous book by George Orwell called 1984. Come on, it's like heavily influenced by that book. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of reference to that book, a lot of references. The interesting and unique ideas they put behind this game are totally worth the money and the experience of playing it. Freedom Wars, totally recommended. It's not over yet, we've got one more to go, and that's Might and Magic Clash of Heroes on the Nintendo DS. This game didn't feature in any of my previous videos from 1.5 years ago. I am recording this right now, fresh and new. And I've talked about this game several times before, and I actually did an entire video just about it. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes is a Canadian RPG, and it's there on several different platforms, but the only physical release we got was on the Nintendo DS. And it's a freaking fantastic, overly addictive RPG. It's a puzzle-like game where you gotta position your creatures, your demons, your monsters, and move them around behind other bigger animals, bigger creatures to form like a powerful magic attack against your enemies. And since most of the time, most of the missions require sometimes different things, like you gotta hit this other monster in a certain period of time, or stop an enemy attack, or build a wall, or build something, you know, it's just so unique, and that's what makes it so addictive to play. And last but not least, the story, which is told by 5 different main characters. First you play as the elf, then you move on to another character, and so on until the very end, and at the very end, there's a really cool and kick-ass boss battle. I can't recommend this game enough, and it's dirt cheap. You can find this game, even nowadays, the physical release on the Nintendo DS, for less than $20, probably between 10 and 15 bucks. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching.